All right, we're here with Coach's Corner, number 42, with perhaps my least favorite topic in coaching, and that other than maybe dealing with angry parents. But our topic today is fundraising. I'm not a fan of fundraising. I really don't enjoy it, but it is a necessity in today's environment. Things are more expensive. Kids and parents' expectations for what you're going to have in your program have increased, and school budgets are not able to sustain those kinds of expectations and kinds of things you want to do with your program. So you've got to find ways to generate revenue, to do the things in your program that you want to do, and provide the kind of experience that you want your kids to have. So I've done it a long time, and I'm just in this episode just want to throw out some ideas of things that we've done with a variety of levels of success, but also kind of create a dialogue in the comments with some ideas that some of you have had that you've had success with that you like, or maybe even some things that you would suggest other coaches to stay away from. So I guess I break fundraising down into two categories: old school and new school. The old school kinds of fundraisers you're starting to see people get away from for a couple of reasons. One is they don't generate as much revenue as they used to, and a lot of them are pretty labor intensive. So what are some of those old school ideas? Selling a product, whether it's program gear, t-shirts and hats and that kind of stuff, pizza kits, popcorn, discount cards, where you're selling a product. We're starting to see less and less of those. Number one, because people don't really want the product and they'd rather just give you the money. The old school lift-a-thon, free throw-a-thon, run-a-thon for track and cross country type of lift-a-thon, where people pledge a certain amount of money for a certain number of reps or a certain number of miles or a certain number of free throws or whatever it might be. Returnable bottle and can drive can be super messy and super labor intensive, but you can generate a lot of money. Golf outings. I think golf outings are a lot of fun. I love golf outings. But I think you're seeing fewer and fewer of them because they're getting to be a little bit cost prohibitive for participants, because the cost of just being on the course has increased for the people that are sponsoring it. Businesses are getting banged on all the time for sponsorships. So whole sponsors and sponsorships of those golf outings has gone down. So I think they're very labor intensive, and the revenue that you're generating has decreased. So I think you're seeing fewer and fewer of those. But the ones that are well established, that do really well, just kind of have a life of their own. So if you've got a great one, don't get rid of it. But if you're thinking about starting a new fundraiser, maybe golf outing's not the place to start. The old drawdown raffle, cash bash style, again, I think you're seeing fewer and fewer of those for the same reasons that the golf outings are starting to decrease. But again, if you've got a great drawdown raffle event, they're fun events. They're a great way to build a lot of goodwill in your program. But getting those raffle donations and raffle baskets and the cost of the tickets are going up, because the cost of food and all those kinds of things are going up. So again, very labor intensive, and less and less, on average, less and less profitable. And then there's camps, and I think you're never going to get rid of camps, youth camps and camps for your kids, where you're charging money to coach football basically, and to build. Whether or not you're making money on those are always going to be great just for building your program and building connection to your program, but maybe not as profitable in a lot of places as they used to be. So what are some new school ideas? And I've done most of these with varying degrees of success. The one you see a lot of is the social media email campaign, whether it be Snap Raise or Vertical Raise or GoFundMe or whatever they might be. Very popular. I think a lot of times people that want to support your program would prefer to just give you the money rather than to, buy popcorn or pizza kits or whatever. So I think that has really, they're very easy. But again, a lot of people are apprehensive about gathering emails from their friends and family, and people being hit up on social media and all those kinds of things. So there's pros and cons, but I think they're here to stay, and I think the companies themselves are doing a really good job of figuring out what's the best way to service folks. One thing that you're starting to see more and more of, kind of comparing it to the Liftathon model, but it's a community service fundraiser where people will donate a certain amount of money for per hour of community service, either by individual players or by the program as a whole. And I think that's a great way to generate revenue, build goodwill in your program, and also provide a service to your community. So that's maybe something to think about. The old online store where people are buying gear now instead of selling shirts or pre-ordering shirts, or just doing the old paper order form to order gear. People can go online now, and oftentimes programs get a kickback on that from whether it's BSN or whether it's a local vendor. Pretty popular today. There's also, speaking of BSN or big vendors, apparel vendors, that exclusive contract or rebate you can get for signing with Nike or Under Armour or Adidas. That can be pretty lucrative. Mostly getting that back in gear. It's not anything you can use for a team meal or anything like that, but it is something you can do to generate some stuff and generate some revenue for your program. And then, you're seeing more and more big events, sponsorship, or program sponsorship, where programs are just basically soliciting businesses for sponsorship of their program, and for a relatively sizable donation. There'll be signage in the stadium or in the gym to demonstrate their support of the program. So I think the big thing, if you're looking at fundraising, is to maximize your revenue with minimal or reasonable effort. I always loved the Liftathon thing, where the kids kind of go out and do that kind of stuff. And basically for me, it was setting up the form and passing the stuff out at a meeting, and then sitting in the weight room and collecting money. But I think those are the kinds of things you need to think about in fundraising. So, in the comments, give us some ideas of some other things that you've done fundraising wise. I think that's a great way, a great part of coaching that we can all share together, regardless of what sport we coach. And I think it's something that can really benefit kids and benefit programs. So share those ideas in the comments. Really like to hear what some of you guys are doing. All right. Have a great week, and keep being that coach that your kids need you to be.